Hello, everybody, and welcome to my show. I'm Christine Bakker from Galaxy of Light, and please remember to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button so that you don't miss out anything in the future. Right, the topic for today is the X39 patches, and I'm going to bring in a lovely lady on board to answer a few of my questions on the X39 patches. As you have guessed, I'm very new at this, and Mandy is just going to reassure me as I go along. Hello, Mandy. Thank you for joining me today. Mandy, I have a couple of questions on the X39 patches today.
Super, go ahead.
Right, Mandy. Where do I apply the patches?
So your X39 patches have got two spots. So first of all, the reason why we put them on these two spots is because they are linked to the main meridians of the body. So one of the spots, and I've got mine on there today, is the back of the neck. It's on that, if you put your head forward, it's on that little bump. It's called the hammer, and you're placing it onto that part of the neck. Now that's going to work down into the nervous system and also up into the brain area. The other spot that we put it on is 2 finger widths below the belly button. We call that the tanden or something like it. It's like an Eastern way of speaking about the energy source of our body. So that point is in particular where our energy is produced for the rest of the body. It's also linked to a lot of organs in the body. So a lot of people, it's interesting, a lot of people do a lot with the belly button. Some people actually use essential oils and put it inside the belly button because it's linked to all the different parts of the body and it will run through that. Our umbilical cord came from our mom, but it was actually serving us in many different ways when we were little. So it's a very important spot around that area. So let's talk first and foremost around the one that's on the back. So the one that's on the back, this is where all it sort of feeds the energy into the rest of the body. So this is an important spot. If you've got a cold or you're struggling with something like a winter issue, you can actually place your X39 patch on that spot. Below our belly button, we are going to be working on digestive system, any kind of uterus issues. We're going to be working on the lower abdomen of the body. Now, if we look at the meridian points, Christine, for those people out there who understand meridians, we call the one that goes up the front, we call it conceptual. So this is the conceptual meridian, and it runs all the way up here into the mouth and ends in the back of the throat. The governing vessel, it runs all the way up the back, all the way around the top of the head, and then runs into the mouth and into the back of the throat. Now, those two meridians, interesting enough, when you are an embryo, as soon as those two meridians touch, that's what creates what we think is a heartbeat. It's the click together so that that electrical current can start running through. So we assume that it's the heartbeat we're hearing, but it's actually those two meridians that have actually connected, and that's the start of life. So it's quite an interesting thing. I actually did a course where I learned this, and I was quite intrigued by that whole scenario. So that's what it's going to do for us by those two specific points. Look, if you are an acupuncturist, you are more than welcome to place that patch anywhere on the body. Just remembering that we have a white patch. So the white patches are in the range from Lifewave are needing to be used on the midline of the body and then anywhere on the right-hand side. So people ask me sometimes, well, Mandy, if my knee is sore, can I move that patch to the left-hand side? Yes, you can, but then making sure that you know and understand it will work a little less on the negative side than on the positive side. So our white patches work best on the positive side. We've got some tan patches, we speak about those later, but the tan patches you'll be working on the negative side of the body. So it's really good to understand what these patches are really going to be used for and how they're going to work in connection with the body. Very important.
Right, thank you, Mandy. Question number 2. Right, how long do the patches last?
So the patches actually have a lifespan of 24 hours, okay? But we don't want the body to get used to the light. So remembering that our little wonderful patches, when placed on the body like we've done, it is going to use the body's heat, the infrared heat, like you wear those, they use those goggles in the army where they can pick up the heat sensors. Very same thing. We can't see it with our naked eye, but it's about 3 centimeters above the body, and it's using it to activate what's happening in the patch. Now, inside the patch itself, there's only these little amino acid crystals, which are completely plant-based and completely natural. They are not absorbed into the body whatsoever. However, they are going to dissipate. They're going to eventually, by the heat of the body, they're going to disintegrate and they'll no longer be present. And what those little crystals do is they facilitate the photolight therapy that's going to go back into the body. So when you do this, you place it on your body, it's using the infrared heat. It's then kind of bouncing that heat off those little crystals, creating light, which is then going back into the body. Now, what we're doing is we want to open up these meridian pathways, and that's why Lifewave have suggested behind the neck and below the belly button, because it's working off all the other meridians very, very easily. So that's why those 2 points are used throughout. So we want to use the patches for 12 hours on and then 12 hours off. Why? Because we don't want our body to get used to the light. Because if it does, it gets too used to that and then the body won't respond. So remembering how these patches are talking to the body, because each patch has got a different shape or a lattice of a pattern of crystals, it's giving the body different wavelengths of light. And from that, the body is going to know what to do itself. So remembering this wonderful patch allows the body to do its own job. And that's what our bodies have stopped doing. We've got all of these synthetic medicines that we've been taking and all these alternative stuff that we're taking to help our body, which means what? Our body stops doing it on its own. So it gets lazy. So we don't want to make the body lazy. We want to start getting the body to do its own job. Our bodies are fine-tuned machines, and they need to heal themselves and repair themselves. So in that respect, what the patch is doing, it's only talking to the body so that the body can kick itself into gear and start doing its own job.
Very interesting. Mandy, that brings me to my next question. If we take the patch off after 12 hours and the next morning, can we put the same patch back on for another 12 hours?
You absolutely can. So what I always suggest to people is be careful of doing that if you are wanting to do a huge amount of repair. If you've got a lot of degeneration in your body, there's things that have broken down over time, you want to be very aware of using a new patch every day. If you're someone like Christine and I, who are not ill, we do not need an injection of, a boost of regenerative cells in our body. We can use the patch for 24 hours. So for Christine and I, we can use it for 12 hours. We can remove the patch overnight, and then we can reapply it the next day. The thing with the patches at the back is what we call latex. So it's sticky in the beginning. It might not be that sticky the next day. So what can you do? Well, many people just stick a plaster over it and place it where they'd like to place it. Or alternatively, as a lady, I just slide it between my bra and my skin and just keep it there. You just want to be keeping it on the skin area. Or otherwise I'll put it in my shoe, or otherwise I'll put it in a pocket, even a pocket that's a shirt pocket, it doesn't matter. So as long as it's in the vicinity of 3 centimeters of the body, it will still work. So you don't need to put it on the skin. It can actually be placed on clothing. Some people are quite allergic to the latex. So sometimes, unfortunately, their skin gets very irritated. So that's also why some people will rather opt for the clothing rather than on their skin. Have you got a bit of there?
Right. Mandy, yes, that's very interesting. And tell me, are there any contraindications on using the patches?
So no. So because it's only light, if you are taking medication, you definitely do not stop your medication. You are under your doctor's guidance. So you can use these patches with medication. You can use these patches with a, what do you call that? I was thinking of a heart. What is that thing called? That's popped out of my head. They use it for their heart. For the life of me, can't think of the word now.
A pacemaker.
pacemaker, that's it. A pacemaker. So people might sometimes think, well, is it going to affect the pacemaker? Is it, although it's giving light, is it frequency? Is it going to mess with the pacemaker? No. So basically, I believe as a wellness practitioner, it's the most natural way for us to tap into our healing processes in the body, to switch on the repair of the body very profoundly.
I see. And Mandy, are there any side effects wearing the patches?
So there are no side effects. However, what we do refer to is a healing crisis. What can happen sometimes, especially if you're wearing the beautiful glutathione patches, which I'm wearing here today. So I've got my X39 on the back and I've got a glutathione on the front. And I'll tell you why I wear it, because my thyroid has had excessive swelling over my lifetime, and I keep that at bay because we know that we keep a lot of toxicity here in our thyroid and goiter area, and we keep toxicity in our kidneys. So this is a great way for me to detoxify and keep that swelling down. If you're looking at detoxification, but this is what will happen with people who are going through that healing process. Often people don't like a healing crisis, Christine, because they may get a severe headache, they may get a runny tummy, they may come out in a rash. But I would love to explain it more. How else are you going to fix your body if you don't go through something like that, if your body requires it? Does it happen to everyone? No, it doesn't happen to everyone, but it does happen to some. They really feel awful. So what I always say is I'd say 2 patches may do that to you. The X39 may do it to you, and glutathione may do it to you, because the glutathione is our detoxification patch, and we'll speak about that in another session with you. But if you are going through that, okay, and you get a severe headache, drink more water, because your body is trying to flush all of the toxicity out, okay? So it's got an incredible way to support your body and help your body. And if there is an excess of toxicity that is retained by the body, it needs to let it go. So don't make yourself feel sick. I also want to explain there are 2 phases of detoxification. The first phase is cleaning out the liver, and the second phase is your gallbladder has to swish it off into the digestive system. That's where you could get a runny tummy. Now, if your gallbladder doesn't switch on quickly enough, you're going to feel nauseous and it wants to come up instead of going down. So you remove the patch. So you can even wear the patch for 1 hour a day. If you're really feeling that you're someone that's got a lot of toxicity in you and you're getting that detox response, remove the patch. Make sure that you keep a note of how many hours a day that you're wearing the patch. So I would say if someone is having that kind of heavy heat detox response and heavy healing crisis, just know that your body requires that to get better. So when are you going to do that? When's the right time? There's never a right time to get your body right. So my suggestion is stick with it, wear it for an hour, remove it. The next day, wear it for another hour, remove it, use it for 12 hours, then throw away the patch, then start again with a new patch and wear it for 12 hours. So 1 hour every day. And as your body starts to get used to it, more calmly and peacefully rather than pushing it, then your body's going to respond really gently and you're going to have less of that healing crisis, but it's going to help you immensely in the future. If you are someone that just understands this analogy and you just say, you know what, I'm just going to suck it up. If it gets too bad, I'll remove the patch. But if not, and I'm just feeling a little bit croaky, a little bit yucky, I'm going to drink more water and I'm just going to push through. Because I can tell you, most of the people that have done this with me and most of the people that have listened to me have sucked it up. They've said, okay, Mandy, it's not as bad as what I'm telling you. I'm feeling terrible. It's not bad. I can handle it. But I'm going to just drink more water. And within a short period of time, their body has readjusted itself and they're out on the other side and they're feeling amazing. So I think it's entirely a choice thing. It's like, you know, how much of this do you want to get going with? You know, some people say to you, know what, Christine, I'm ready to change my life. And they go through a little, you know, healing crisis and they're like, oh, no, I don't want to do this. How much do you want to change? How much of your wellness do you want to get back? So I think, you know, it's a mindset that you have to be in. And the healing process sometimes is never easy. I'm sorry, you've had 30 years of all of this toxicity, all of your bad eating, and then you want to flick a magic wand and it's got to be like a gentle process. It sometimes isn't. So I think the reality of it is just be realistic. If you've had really bad lifestyle up until this point, too much drinking, too much fast food, too much sugar. Well, that's got to go somewhere. That's got to get out for you to actually start really, attaining that vitality and that well-being at its optimum. So I think, many people who want to get better don't realize the amount of gunk that is actually in our bodies, and it has to be removed so that our cells are cleared out. They have got less toxicity, they can work properly, they can function properly, and then we get our vitality. So I think there's the wrong idea of healing. Healing is sometimes not a pretty journey. It is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I quite understand that, Mandy. And I like to relate our bodies to a car. I mean, if you leave your car as a petrol needle to go into the red and you just keep on driving, it's going to seize up. And I think our body is exactly the same. If
Absolutely.
we want to get to a point where we're going to seize up, and it's like, exactly, that's just it. So it's logical thinking, really. Right,
Absolutely.
Mandy, what do I do about my animals? I've got a little doggy that I've put patches on. Now, obviously, I can't take it off and put it back because of the hair. So what would I do in a case like that?
So animals are slightly different. We can actually leave an X39 on for about 3 days. You don't have to take it off. Just be mindful of animals. Animals are, they are smaller, little, wonderful little creatures than us. They will respond much quicker because they come into less toxicity than what we do sometimes. So I will say I've got a little Cavalier King Charles. She's had an ear infection. I was chatting to Christine yesterday. I had a little bit I got something from Dischem just to put inside the ear, and I patched her behind her ear, and you can't believe how much better it is today. So I won't remove that patch for the next 3 days. If she's very chronic like she is now, I will put a new patch on every day. So if they've got very sore joints, they've been struggling with arthritis for a while, I will rather put a new patch on every day just to give them that boost. So let's talk about the patches like that. So, Christine, if you are, as I said to you, if you've been quite ill and you need the power, I call it the power of the patches to help you need to really use those patches, a new one every single day. This is important. So for the dogs, exactly the same. So please make sure that you patch your animal in the morning, and make sure that you don't leave for work with the patch on. You need to be present, because the dog, as much as what we do, will go through a healing crisis as well. They might get a runny tummy, they might feel really awful, get a really bad headache, and you won't know. So you need to be monitoring them. Are they sleeping? Are they lethargic? Please take the patch off. Remembering that this patch is really powerful. It taps right into the healing processes. It really supports the body's healing, but it also supports the body's detoxification. And if the dog's body has held a lot of toxins, they might really feel icky. So you really need to be mindful. They can't tell you, and you need to be their ears and their eyes, so that you can remove that patch, and then make sure that there's always fresh water, lots of fresh water, because you can get very thirsty and they can get very thirsty. So this is important. But you certainly can use these wonderful patches to support your animal health, because these patches are that natural. And you know what? When we've got our little animals, we don't want to keep on using synthetic solutions. We want to use the most natural. So I know that Christine is patching her doggies. Can't wait to see, get her testimonial. But I can tell you from my experience with Vogie, she's got a bit of a weak knee, and she keeps on, hopping up and down on the couch. And sometimes, a little while ago, her knee was really sore and she was limping a little bit. And I started using the X39, but also remembering that I said to you, each patch has different wavelengths of light. So we used the X39. It really helped her with pain, but it didn't fully help that knee recover. Then I changed over to the X49 and she had full recovery. She was back bouncing up and down the chairs, up and down the ottoman again. And animals won't lie. They either are in pain or they aren't in pain. And they will never do something if there is even a smidgen of discomfort. She will not be able to jump up on the couch if there is a sore joint or her knee is sore. They just won't do it. In fact, when I know that she is a little bit sore and she's done too much, she will just sit and wait for me to pick her up. Then I patch her, because I know that there's something there. So yet again, also, how long will you have to patch the animal? Well, you'll just have to watch them and you'll quickly see, and I think Christine has already seen that, the ones with the arthritis will start to do more than what they've done before. They'll start to be more outdoors. They'll start to run a bit. They'll start to be a bit more jovial, particularly if they've been in pain for large amounts of time. When you take away pain, it's like, oh my word, you've given me a new lease on life. I've suddenly got more energy, more vitality, and I want to move more, because just like humans, they will limp, they will, kind of be careful about that leg. So they won't move around too much because it's sore. It's really painful. So if you take away an animal's pain, they will feel elated and they will be able to do things that they haven't been able to do. And they will be, sort of more energetic, if I can.
Oh, that's true. I've noticed that. And just one other thing about the animals, I have 2 little pugs, and the other one, they both sleep in the same cot. Will the healthy one also pick up any like healing effect from the other doggy's patch because she's lying next to her?
Well, it might, because they are so small and they are lying next to one another. I have an idea, yes, you probably are going to, but also remembering that it's got to be 3 centimeters. So if it's on the bum, and if the other one is got her bum next to that one, that's when she'll be getting the healing. But if it's on the other side of the body, it needs to be 3 centimeters in the vicinity. So yes, it'll be a hit and miss depending on how they're sleeping.
Yes, yeah, because they're like 2 little Siamese twins, actually. Right, Mandy. And another thing, are the patches waterproof?
So absolutely they are. However, I do want to say that if you're someone that sweats a lot, you might find that it'll be a little bit harder to keep these patches on your skin. This is when I tell people just take the patch, and you can even stick it on the inside of your shirt if you don't want to wear it on the outside, in a pocket. If you are someone that goes to the gym, not a good idea to put your patch on when you are at the gym, because as I say, if you haven't put that patch on clean, dry skin, and there's a little bit of perspiration underneath, or goes underneath, or water underneath, it'll lift up, because it's being latex, it's waxy. So as soon as there's water on that wax, it will no longer stick. So it has to be on a very dry surface. So if you are someone that gyms in the morning, rather gym, then place your patch on. If you're someone that gyms at night, rather shower. And but then you're going to take the patch off anyway. So depending on when you gym, but if just to keep in mind, if you're swimming and on the beach and by the pool, I wouldn't use your patches, and I'll tell you why. Because heat actually disintegrates the patches. So if you go and with your patch and you're lying in the sun, you're going to disintegrate those crystals very quickly. So rather, if you are outdoors for the day, rather don't wear your patches. And if you are going to the gym, make sure that you're doing it after you've showered. That's going to be better for you. But if, for instance, if I've placed my patches early in the morning just because I've been in my office and I go and have a shower, absolutely, I can still shower. It will stay on if I don't rub over that area, and you can still continue to use your patches.
Nice one. Right, Mandy, how many patches can I wear at one given time?
So you can wear quite a few, Christine, if your body can handle it. Okay, so what we do with our very ill people that we get, clients that we get, so we can actually put quite a lot of the YH. Our YH is Eon patches, carnosine, glutathione. As I said, we're going to talk more of those in the weeks to come with Christine. But those are that's our protocol for chronic health issues. So then we're looking at an X39. So I have had people who have had strokes. We patched them with everything, and they had the most amazing results. We've also had Oma Joey, who landed up in ICU with in intensive care with pneumonia. We patched Oma with all the patches, and Oma left the hospital in 2 days later after much awe from the doctors. So there are times where you use more patches, but I always say err on the side of safety. Our protocol, if you are wanting to fix your body from some kind of chronic health issue, is to use the Eon patches at night. Helps you have better sleep, brings down inflammation. Glutathione and carnosine, alternating those during the day. And if you can add an X39 to those, bonus. But we'll speak more about that going forward. But other than that, that's basically, you can. Say, for instance, sometimes I feel like really tired. I'll put an X39 and I'll put energy enhancers on, and I'll really feel much better. When I flew to Greece, I had X49 and 2 sets of energy enhancers on, one on my lung meridians, and then one below my knees on my stomach meridian. And I slept like a baby, and I had loads of energy. I traveled for 2 days. I had 4 flights. That was quite hectic. And I only stayed in Greece for 4 days, and then I was back again. So that should have had a huge toll on my body. I literally recovered quickly when I got back, and I didn't even feel like I really did those long haul flights. So for me, I totally love my energy enhancers. So absolutely you can, depending on the health issue, Christine, depending on what we are trying to do for the person, you are able to use more than one patch.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Mandy. That was very informative.
My
and
pleasure.
Thank you to my listeners. Thank you so much to my listeners. Until next week. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.